All right, here we go. As soon as it decides to stop. Oh, God, come on. All right. Hey, we're live. Oh, it was like for 11 seconds, too. So,
Yeah.
whatever you heard, keep it between us, okay? And the entire world. Everyone, welcome back to Smirking Gun Reviews. This is another episode of TMI with Rob. And after I watched, like, forced myself to watch the entire D23 Marvel panel, and I earlier had watched like some of the trailers separately. I was like, I really, I don't just want to talk about all these trailers and cool things that are coming, but I wanted to talk about D23 as at what it is and what we all think about it. But I do mention that I have, of course, special guests here on this TMI. This is really cool to have everybody. The only one we're missing right now is Don Willie, but what are you gonna do? He's off with having a good time in New York, which I actually wish I was there right now. No, not really, because then I'd be missing this. But anyway, I want to just start off a little differently today because usually we say likes and subscribes and where can we find you at the end of one of these long videos. And some people just might not make it that far. And so I want to make sure that we get to talk about these people and their channels because it's what we do here. And everybody wants to get a little attention on their channels, including myself. So I'm going to start right down below me with Alyssa. Alyssa, if you want to tell everybody where what your channel is and any videos that you might want to hype up for your channel at all, and then we'll pass it over to Aaron.
All right, I am Alyssa. I'm at Alyssa Jeans Reviews, and I am covering Star Trek Lower Decks weekly. I'm also doing Star Trek top 10s in different categories every month. I did the best and worst of time travel episodes this month. And the video I would like to highlight them as is next Wednesday, I am doing my mid-season review plus predictions for House of the Dragon. So Game of Thrones predictions is like my roots. That's how I got started back in the day. So I'm excited to do predictions for the second half of the season of House of the Dragon. That's going to be on my channel probably Wednesday-ish. So please subscribe and check that out.
Definitely.
Excellent.
Everybody go subscribe to the channel, please. And now we're going to take it over to Darrin Jaques, my man.
Thanks, Rob. I'm Darrin Jaques from D's Reviews. We're currently doing She-Hulk Thursday nights at 6 o'clock. The man up here that we're going to introduce in a minute, Marc, has been joining me from the beginning. Actually, Rob's going to join us this week and Alyssa for the following week. So you'll get to see this group a little bit more. And yeah, that's Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific. Pretty much every week we got something going on.
All right. And last but definitely not least, we have Marc from Enchantment of Eternity. Marc, why don't you tell everybody what your... I just told everybody what your channel is. If you want to say it again, it's like...
Well, you just ruined it now,
repetition.
Now I'm just going to go on my trailer and complain. Anyway, so my name's Marc. My channel is Enchantment of Eternity. I am, at the moment, doing House of the Dragon live discussions with these two. Trying to get this angle anyway. Darrin and Alyssa usually join me every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And also I do weekly reviews like Alyssa. I also cover Star Trek Lower Decks, but I'm also covering Lord of the Rings of Power, which I have my latest video just came out today for that one. And a video I would like to highlight is next Wednesday I'll be releasing my top 10 top 10 worst retcons in Star Trek, and that video is like an hour long, and I get very yelly and screamy and curse a lot, so it's a lot of fun. I have a nice little discussion at the start. Yeah, and I have a nice little discussion at the start about canon and what I think about canon, and then I get angry at all the worst examples of breaking canon. But anyway, check that out. Check out my channel.
All right, and yeah, Rob, Smirking Reviews. And right now I've just been making Critical Role stuff, enjoying some exciting weeks over on Critical Role. But I would like to still talk about the Hulk 2003 video I made, where it was something I really wanted to talk about for a long time, not just the Ang Lee movie, but just Hulk in general, and what people's, what have been the expectations for Hulk? What do people really know about the Hulk, and what the character actually is about is kind of different. And of course, since it's one of my videos, I put it on myself. I blame I put myself in the role of everyone who saw that back then, and put in my mindset from back then and how it's different now, and how it really does deserve a second chance. And I was really proud of that video. So if you want, go check that out on my channel. But now we're here to talk about the D23 2022 Expo. What is that, in LA that they filmed that, or is it in Florida? Does anybody know?
I think it's here in LA, but to be honest, I haven't paid any attention. I mean, I didn't get an invite, so I didn't really pay too much attention to which city they did that in.
I thought it was Florida, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
No.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
probably
really matter.
one of
I don't
the
know
two.
why I did. But I forced myself to watch the whole thing. And as I was sitting there watching this all roll out, and I did, because it was just, I've been to several cons, but I've never been to one of these expos that are, singularly focused on, certain things for each day, like Disney one day, Pixar another day, or whatever that they have going on. And while I know already by going to cons that it's a big like garage sale for stuff in some ways, but it's a way to hype up your shows, or for comic book artists or artists in general to like sell their wares. And they bring in celebrities varying in degrees of, A to D kind of people. And they cover all range of different aspects, so that you go there, you're going to find something at a con, especially the big ones that are a little least specific. And they're fun. But when I watched this, it was the first time that I really felt like what are we really getting out of these? And I know that that's maybe a weird question to ask, but it just feels like a really, really expensive ad. Like it's a big submersive ad. Just pulling these people up, be on stage for like a minute, and they go back in, and I guess part of this, the reason I'm bringing this up, is because I feel like the direction of Marvel in general has been kind of, as I watched more and more of this, one of my issues with the MCU lately is that they've been kind of drowning us. We had that lull where in 2020 and 2021 where everything slowed down. We didn't get anything after Endgame except for Spider-Man, Far From Home. But like since then, it's been like one thing after another. And I know that like Disney Plus needed to get out a bunch of stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I've been noticing just kind of a little bit of a downgrade in things a little bit as we go along, and things feeling kind of rushed. And when I see these big bloated expos where it's just them trying to sell us on everything and shooting us down in years and years to come of what's coming, and we don't even know what's going to stick and what's going to last and what'll get changed or tweaked or put together, I felt a little icky. I felt a little like I don't know what people get out of going to one of these things. And I don't know if you guys I don't know if I could go to one of these things, even if somebody said I've got free tickets. Mostly because I don't know if my anxiety would allow me to to like be in a room with that many people screaming about things. But I guess it's probably just me, but I look at these things and I just feel like we're losing the soul of what made the MCU special. Just feels like it's slipping away a little bit. And I don't know if anybody has any take on that.
Well, I think part of that is it's kind of the success of what has happened with, Comic-Con and everything like that. As we start to show the new wares and the new previews and the new things are coming up, and you have an excitement, you have a buzz, and everybody gets more and more excited every year. And this is just now the studios all branching off to go, hey, we could do our own version of that. Where you're right, it's just, that's all we're doing. We're advertising for wares, but we're building up that fan expectation. We're trying to jive. They want to, get people going and get the social media talking. It in a way, while it's an event, it leads to a lot of free advertising as all of us come and get together and talk about these little things. So like anything else, I think because of that, they all start to feel sort of marketed too. You have DC fandom. Yay, we're going to finally hear all this stuff. And, now we've got D23. Yeah, we're going to hear all this stuff. And honestly, my favorite thing out of this entire convention is the mass waves of disappointment of all of the rumor feeders who were disappointed that the news that Marvel never said they were going to give us didn't happen. Which look, I want to hear these things too, but a lot of them make sense. We're like, everybody, we want that knowledge. And I think that's what they're appealing to, is because we want so much. What's the next thing? Give me that bite, that spoiler, that taste, that bit. This allows them to feed it to us in careful little bites and string us along until they want to drop a plate full of stuff in front of us, which we eat.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like there was all this talk about, we're going to get the confirmation of Deadpool, we're going to get the confirmation of the X-Men, and the confirmation of the Fantastic Four, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if we're not getting that after Comic-Con. What was the point of this other than for Disney just to go, oh, look, this is our own thing. Look at us. We're Disney. We're doing our own thing. Because I don't feel like we got anything spectacularly new after Comic-Con. I mean, we've got, bits of Phase 5 and 6 in Comic-Con. There's footage the people who were there got to see. If you watch certain YouTube videos, you can see people describe the footage that they saw. I mean, there's tidbits here and there. There's little things, but did they need a whole big expo for this? Not really. And I'm trying to think like what we really gained from it. I mean, it's just Disney wanting to do their own thing and not just rely on Comic-Con. Pretty soon they just won't show up to Comic-Con at all and they'll just do their own thing separately. But I feel like it was kind of redundant, honestly. I don't know what we gain out of it. But as far as Marvel just cranking out all of the different projects, I have no problem with that. I just keep them coming as far as I'm concerned. Some, it's been hit or miss. Some of them I like more than others. I tend to like most of them more than others. I'm not as down on Phase 4 as a lot of people are. But there have still been some that have, missed. There have been hits and misses. But I don't mind if they keep coming and then the misses will just,
they disappear back into the Disney Plus vaults.
Yeah, they'll just exactly.
That was a really good point I was going to bring up too. Was this whole thing wasn't anything that everybody didn't already know, except for maybe like nobody knew who I don't think anybody knew the director of Fantastic Four was going to be in that. But like, this is all stuff that we all know is coming, and it kind of is in some of these. When they started revealing certain things, it felt the same way. Where it's like, I've had some time to think about some of them and go, okay, that makes sense. But still, like Ant-Man and the Quantumania movie has been, how long has this been? Like, I don't really need any more Quantumania talk. Bring up something else, even if it's a little more of something that we know of, something that's more imminent, because a lot of these things still feel like far off. And they'll get here pretty soon, but give us a little bit of something fresh.
All right. Well, I was gonna say like what you were saying before, Rob, about how you're wondering if you would want to go to one of these things, and I would definitely would not, just because I don't know. I've always been against this trailer culture that's been sort of popping up in the past decade or so, where people seem more excited and more interested in the trailers. Like I would talk to people like, "Oh, did you see the new trailer for this?" And then when the movie actually came out, like they're not really talking about it anymore. It's like the more focus put on like the trailer, the announcement, than the actual movie itself, which is what I'd rather focus on. And yeah, so I actually, and I was just saying before we went on air, I actually haven't heard all the announcements. I've just heard a spackling of them because I don't really follow all that much. Although, it's cool to hear like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing a phase 5 with Avengers and all that. Like that's cool, but I don't need to like sit down and watch, some jack-offs on stage like going on about it, whatever. I can watch the trailer on YouTube. That's all good. But yeah, so I tend to get more excited about like, and I try not to prejudge things, which I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of people doing that with some of these trailers. And yeah, and I also agree with Alyssa, though. I haven't really had that big of a complaints with Phase 4. Like I see all these clickbait videos all the time of like, oh, Marvel's going to shit, it's going downhill, what the hell? And I just think that that's just clickbait bullshit. And people can have whatever opinions they like. If they don't like the newer stuff, they preferred Marvel how it was in previous phases, that's all good. For me, I guess I was never as big on Marvel in the first place. Like I didn't even like the MCU until like some halfway through Phase 2, and then I sort of picked it up and started liking it better and more. So for me, the quality hasn't really gone down. It's always been hit or miss for me. There's just more of it. So that's like that's fine by me. Like it doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
That's another good point. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say another part of this also leads to your question of who is this for or what is this for? I think this is where you kind of get that blend of, is it just for insiders? Is it for everywhere else? It's not there's not a lot of new news that does come out of these. And we are hoping that there are at least these, as Mark mentions, the desired trailers to come out. But so many of the stuff today, which we won't even be able to talk that much about out of a few sentences here and there, or anybody else that's dug in a little bit more, Alyssa, to these things that haven't had any release trailers. It's like, hey, Indiana Jones, we showed you footage just to these small people that were in this room. Nobody else gets to see any of this stuff. Oh, we got some Loki stuff just for the people that were in this room. And so it's not even advertising to us outside of going, there's something out there we didn't get to see. And, I think it's a little bit of that kind of hook grab for that. But, as I said, it gets them free advertising with all of the follow-up discussions nerds like to do.
It doesn't make sense that... Oh, go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
I think part of this whole thing and why I even bring it up as a subject is because like Mark, I've been against kind of this trailer culture thing. And I make it clear a lot of times when I'm on channels, like, and on my own channel, I say, I don't watch trailers anymore. I'll see a clip and I might look it up on my phone and see who's in it. And I might watch like just far enough into a trailer to go, yep, that's it. That's all I need before when I can tell they're hyping up to throw a whole bunch of spoilers at me. We're just gonna ruin the whole movie for me. So seeing this, I've avoided a lot of this, like the expos and things like this. So this is my first time kind of going back in, like opening that box up again and just going boom in my face, like all of this. And I watched all the trailers and I watched all the people talking, and I'm like, it's so much. Yet it's somehow it's like nothing at all because it's so much we already knew. And it's like so expensive to bring these actors out who, as much as I like seeing them be uncomfortable on stage, I think it's funny to watch them try to answer questions that Feige's standing there and the audience is like sitting there waiting for them to screw up maybe and pull a Tom Holland or and let something out or Ruffalo it, a little bit. But other than that, like I guess because I'd been out of the loop on it, I've talked about the kind of trailer stuff that Mark's talking about. I just haven't experienced it like this. And it just kind of left me like, maybe it's mostly because I've been gone for so long from that it just like it changed. And even though I've seen like how the hype is more important than the actual product, and it's here and gone like this, and we've already moved on to talk about what's coming instead of living like we're living momentarily in the future and never like when the present is here and the thing is here in front of us. We used to like, it would be weeks we'd be talking about one thing, and now it's just like we're just flooded with from all sides. That what makes how do you even disseminate the special from the whatever anymore? Like you're swimming through stuff and you're trying to find the nuggets of goodness out there, and it's like they just keep piling it on. And now I'm like, I'm already ready to just go, okay, no more trailers again. I'm locking it up. I'm closing the box again, because I just, I wanted to be informed when I made this video, and now I'm regretting it. Like just a little bit, because now that I've seen some of these, I am excited. And so instead of complaining anymore, except Alyssa, you did want to say something.
Yeah, I actually forgot what I was going to say before. Now I'm going to go off of what you were just saying. So I think I was before going to go off of whatever Darrin was saying, but now I'm thinking about what you were saying. And yeah, it's very much this thing of like not being able to live in the moment and appreciate like what we have. And I feel like, yeah, as Mark, I think, said, people get more excited about the trailers than the actual product. And you either have two things. You have people like prejudging the film as being something a negative or whatever before they even see it. People prejudging the CGI on She-Hulk months ago and things like that. Or what I see a lot of, what I saw with like say Doctor Strange, people were so excited about this trailer. The movie comes out, yeah, it sucks. And then Thor and Love and Thunder. Oh, did you see the trailer? There's all these breakdown videos. Oh, it's so exciting. Oh yeah, that movie sucked. And there was a meme right before Obi-Wan dropped, something along the lines of, oh, here's another great show that y'all got excited about that now you can just complain about once it's actually on, which is pretty much how it usually goes. Let's break down the trailer. Let's get all excited about the trailer. And then once it comes out, let's all whine and complain about it. How about we just watch it and just take it as it comes. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But let's not the hype up culture, I'm not really into either. I personally still do like to watch trailers for my own sake, but I don't necessarily need all other people's hype around it. I'm perfectly capable of getting myself hyped up, but people just get themselves so worked up and hyped up about trailers and then ultimately get disappointed in the actual product.
Yeah, I don't find the need to watch these like detailed breakdowns, like a freeze frame and like frozen and like analyze every tiny little bit of the trailer. I used to do that with Game of Thrones, but that was the only thing. After that, I was just like, no, I don't need that. I was like, I'll just wait for the movie. And the funny story is the Doctor Strange, the latest one, the trailer. I love that trailer so much. I watched it like hundreds of times, and so when I saw the movie, I felt like I've already saw the movie because a lot of the good parts were in the trailer, or at least some parts weren't even in the freaking movie that was from the trailer. So I do see that the trailer, yeah, going too deep into it can kind of ruin the movie.
All right. So now that we've covered all that, the actual talking about the expo and whether or not we would even go. As I want to mention the chat too, Desiree and Dev being here, and Desiree really being a champ out there. I want to mention the Tom Hiddleston thing though. Like, yeah, there's people that do go out there and no matter what, they're going to have the swagger. Hiddleston has been doing this for so long. He's just channeling Loki. like without even channeling Loki at all. Like he gives us everything, and they seem to have a lot of fun, that little group. But a lot of the stuff is just like really forced humor and just awkwardness. And like I said, I love watching them be awkward. I mean, Paul Rudd also nails these things because he's such a great improver, and he's got charisma coming out of his wazoo. Of course, the guy who is named Sexiest Man of the Year is going to be able to make it so that it's self-deprecating, and that just makes you like him even more. Which makes me mad that we still have been waiting for Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, because I personally really like those movies because of their charm. They don't have to be the biggest things in the world, except now Quantumania sounds like it's going to explode the Marvel universe all over the place, which I think after 3 movies, you probably should really kick the door open on that series and do something wild. But anyway, since we're starting already to talk about this stuff, I do want to mention, we're going to mention some of the ones that I think we might not need to talk as much about. But if we do, we do. And I'm going to start off with one that just is barely anything, but people have made such a big deal about, and it's ridiculous. I'm 47 years old. When this came out, I was a little kid. I liked it. I don't watch it anymore because I'm 47 years old and I don't need to like revisit every single thing in my life. Not every single thing. Like I can see it in my head and I like it, but just because and I haven't said what it is on purpose. But these things that people hold so dear, it's like it makes no sense. And I'm talking about The Little Mermaid. And I don't really need to say too much more on that myself because it's ridiculous. Ooh, the Disney version, and it's like, if this is Hans Christian Andersen and it's public domain. So if somebody else made a Little Mermaid movie, which they'd have every right to do, and they just decided to make the mermaid black, would they be freaking out still? Yes, because it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's Disney or Universal or Paramount or whoever decides to make something that's off of something, they'll still find a way to go. And these people are ridiculous, and they're grown-ups. They should just be showing the movies to their kids and staying the fuck out of it. Keep your hate inside and let your kids enjoy what they're going to enjoy. Don't ruin things for your kids because you've got issues. Because that's what it comes down to. Why is any grown person, male or female, chiming in about this at all? I have no intention of seeing The Little Mermaid. Why? Because it's The Little Mermaid, and I've said I'm 47 years old. There are some things that I have outgrown. I don't need to see the songs, and forget that I don't like musicals anyway anymore that much. But like they swim up and it's just her face, and everybody just suddenly went, oh my God, like we also have to realize mermaids aren't real, right? Like these people that have like this like ownership over everything, even fiction that's not real. Like if there was if all of a sudden that trailer came out and everybody complained and all of a sudden mermaids just shot out of the water in Florida, because that's where of course they'd land, right? They'd come right up in Florida, and if they all were white, then maybe they'd have a case. They'd be like, we've been sitting here listening to this, and it'd be like, oh well, all the mermaids are real now, and apparently, and they're all really are white. Fuck me. Okay, sorry. But no, that's not what's going to happen. That didn't happen. I mean, it would happen in Florida. But if it did happen in Florida, I'd like to think of it that they would come to take down Ron, DeSantis out there. That they would just pull him back into the sea. So does anybody else have anything on Little Mermaid? Because that was all we had was her going up and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you think about it, like who tend to habitate near oceans, near beaches, originally before all the white people bought out all the land and turned into resort properties, tended to be like, if you look at the islands, it tends to be people of color. Mermaids are not real, but if they were, probably they would be people of color too, I would guess. I don't know. It seems like it'd be more logical that they would probably be people of color. But who cares? I mean, they did this. It's just, I don't know. It's, it's just kind of a certain segment of this country just always having to make everything into a culture war issue. They did the same thing with the Black Inquisitor and Obi-Wan, and the same thing with the Black Elf and Lord of the Rings. Like, these things aren't supposed to be black. Basically, they just think everything needs to be white. Everybody needs to be white. And I just have gotten to the point where I'm tuning this stuff out at this point. And I'm with you. I'm 48, and I have no intention of seeing this movie. In fact, I just double checked again. It came out in 1989. I was 15, so I was already like too cool for Disney movies when it came out. So I don't even have childhood nostalgia with this film because I was already like too old to care about it. I think I probably did end up watching it once, but I don't really remember it because I was too old for it anyway. So I don't even have that childhood. I could see like an adult being like, oh, I have childhood nostalgia, I'll go back and revisit it or whatever because of my childhood nostalgia. I don't even have that. So I don't even really care. But I am actually maybe a teeny tiny bit more likely to see it just because the mermaid is black. Although that's still like, so probably went from 0% to like 2%, but I'm still not going to see it. But I would be more inclined to see it just because the mermaid is a person of color.
Well, oh, sorry. Yeah. I was just going to say I was 10 years old when this came out, and I remember watching the movie over and over and over and over and over again. It was one of those movies I was obsessed with, and I don't remember it now, and I have no intention of seeing the remake, not even for nostalgia's sake. And plus, I'm very anti all these Disney's live action remakes. It's like the most like ill intent, like cash grab, like I'm trying to find the right word. It's not evil, but kind of along those ways. It's just the intentions behind these are not good. Like, there's no creative reason to doing this. The cash flow reason. But that being said, like, I watched this video online where they were showing, like, African American parents were showing the trailer to like their little girls for the first time, and how they were excited, and there was like someone that actually looks like them, and that is a very good thing. Like, that's like something that is a reason to do it. I still don't want to watch it but it's not for me, and that's why I'm not complaining about it. Like, all these freaking, as you say, Rob, the people who are complaining about it are like white men in their 50s or 40s who like, it's not even for you, so shut the fuck up. Yeah, really. And yeah, it's the whole thing with these live action remakes, like, I could care less. I'm not gonna go buy it, but if younger generation gets something out of it, and I think the people who are complaining is because they want to go back to the time of the 50s and 60s where every TV movie character was white. How dare they not be white anymore? Let's, what are they actually trying to include other people so they can see themselves in the movie? Because I'm not, because they're thinking to themselves, well, I'm not black, so what do I care? But anyway.
Capitalist driven, I think, is the word that you were looking for there. It was a capitalist driven society. We have the rights. We already have the movie. We just remake it exactly the way it is in a new form. There is a brilliance to it. I have to admit. No, Mark, you jumped on it before I can't get a chance to get to it. That's why this is great. You want to see why this is great? Go to YouTube and look at these videos of little kids first seeing this trailer come out that are like, oh, she's black too. Seeing themselves in it, that's what it is. I showed this to, I don't care about Little Mermaid. I got teary-eyed watching it because I could see that, it in my mind's eye while I watched the trailer. I showed it to my wife. She got teary-eyed. Showed it to our son, who's like, oh, you saw the video of the kids reacting? He already knew it. He already was into it. He's so excited about it. And that's why this is a great thing. You want to see the old one? Great. It's there. It's on the Disney Channel right now. You can watch it anytime. This is for other people that get to see themselves on screen, and that is so important. People don't realize it when they've seen it their whole lives, when they've always been on screen.
And I will say I've experienced that personally because I have a friend who lives in New Zealand who had 2 young kids, and she's a Maori, Pacific Islander, and that their little girl was watching Moana on repeat over and over and over again, and it was just so special to having, like, instead of like the typical American white hero, that had someone that represented them and their culture and something that they could identify with, and just how meaningful and powerful that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's
and I still want to mention the chat too. I'm not ignoring y'all. You guys are really putting a lot of stuff out there, and I appreciate that. And as complaining and saying, yeah, I'm 47 and I'm not going to see Little Mermaid. We're none of us are grown-ups here. Only in the ways that we have to be to put so that we can still not be grown-ups. Right? We work and so we can still have, our silly little things that we have surrounding us. I'm looking around. I'm like, I'm trying to think of something to pick up the show, and I'm like, I would have to pick up the whole room. I'd have to pick it up and like shake it all into the screen. Behind me, look at I got a freaking Wolverine teddy bear right here, and he's never far away from me. So but Little Mermaid's that one that I'm like, I've never grown out of Disney. I've just grown out of parts of it. There's things from my childhood like Ninja Turtles. I think I love the design of Ninja Turtles. I still love the action figures. I like the old movies and I like some of the cartoons, but it's not something I like seek out anymore. Or Transformers. I was a Transformers junkie. I wanted nothing more in my life when I was young than a Soundwave. And I watched all the cartoons, but I tried to watch the cartoons as an adult, not that long ago. And I was like, oh no, some things just aren't the same as when you were a kid, as much as you like to pretend they are. And if you still find joy out of all that stuff, great. Because there's things that I still find joy that I probably shouldn't, like that I just go, I don't care. There's parts of you that can just turn that off, and some things you can't turn off. You can't go back all the time. But let's move on to another one that, I don't know. We talked about Little Mermaid a little while. What do you guys think about the Santa Clauses? I am starting at the bottom of the list here. Yeah, right. The Santa Clauses. The new Tim Allen wants to retire from being Santa Claus. So he starts interviewing people to take his place. And in the trailer that they showed, the only person I believe that they showed trying to become Santa Claus was Peyton Manning. And I feel like with the reactions I'm getting, it's like I'm making it up. And you know what? I wish I was. I never was really into the Santa Claus because I never celebrated Christmas as a kid, since I grew up in a weirdo cult and everything. But I have no ties to Santa or Tim Allen or any of this, but I saw Peyton Manning like doing a little ad lib about like how he was saying like ho ho, and then he was like Omaha, and I'm like, oh, see there, I did an audible, and I went, oh my god. So I don't care about this, but I thought I'd mention it in case somebody else had an opinion. I know Mark just went Rip Van Winkle on us.
Well,
it's been 20 years, Mark. We've been talking about it for 20 years. That's how important Santa Claus has turned out to be.
Yeah. Well, until you just said that it was the Tim Allen thing, I didn't even know what it was. Like, you gave us a list before this video of what this possible topic, Santa Clauses. I'm like, what is that? Oh, it's the Tim Allen thing. Never saw it. Don't care. Never been a Christmas movie fan in general, except for Scrooged. I think would probably be the one exception, but generally, never saw 1 second of any of those movies. I don't even know how many there were, and yeah, I do not care. And that's all I have to say.
Scrooge was a good movie.
Scrooge is one of the best movies ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I made a couple of exceptions, but generally never been that huge of a Christmas movie person.
I will be the first to say that while I respect, of course, Disney's greatness and expansiveness, my interest is only a small section of the park, for the most part. And I would say that Santa Clauses is definitely on the list of those, along with season 2 of whatever Disney Plus show is going on for kids, and anything else. So, again, with respect, I'm happy to move on. That movie's not for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even know
And
they
since
were
Mark fell
remaking
asleep,
it. It's fucking crazy.
the next thing is the new National Treasure series on Disney Plus. Is that what it's called? National Treasure? See, I never really watched those movies. My dad likes them, and I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan, but I like my Nicolas Cage crazy. I've never been a fan of the average Nicolas Cage movie, the safe Nicolas Cage movies. I want to see Nicolas Cage, white knuckling it on the edge of a cliff kind of movies, where you just never know what he's going to do, instead of just doing the safe version that he does for like a Disney movie. But this isn't with him. And it looks like the only person that they really brought back was Harvey Keitel, of all people, look, Mr. White is welcome in my house at all times. The wolf can come over to my house whenever he wants, and he can call me all sorts of names, and I will just do whatever he wants. And then they showed like a cameo of the guy that's like was the partner of Nicolas Cage at the end, and I don't even remember that guy's name. And Diane Kruger's not in it, and I think somebody said Catherine Zeta-Jones is going to be in it, but that's still like, I don't know if I've.
So is this going to be a Disney Plus show, a series?
Yeah. It's a kids show, folks. It's a teen show with mysteries. That's what it's going to be. And you're right. Would it be fun if Nick Cage was in it? Maybe, but not with, the cop that was chasing them and his partner doing a cameo. And I think Catherine Zeta-Jones will be in there for like 10 minutes.
So when I was 1 year in the mid 2000s, I was picking fruit in the middle of nowhere, and we were like living there, we're like camping there, and it was like a little situation. But anyway, we were bored. We had nothing to do because we were in the middle of nowhere. But we found out we could, someone had a laptop and there was a DVD rentals place. So we rented, let's rent a movie and watch a movie. So we rented National Treasure, and because I couldn't really find anything better there, we watched it. I was like, my God, this movie sucks. I thought it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. And I was only watching it because I was bored and had nothing else to do. Nicolas Cage was not silly enough to make this movie good. It was just so bland and ordinary. So yeah, that's my thinking of it. They're making a show of it. Maybe some people will enjoy it. I'm going to stay as far away from it as possible.
The sequel was much better. It had Bruce Greenwood as the president. You can't really go wrong with that.
Oh, well, fair enough. Then.
Yeah, that's the only plus.
I was not about to watch the sequel.
Yeah. Never saw it. Don't care.
All right. That's cool.
Moving.
It helps us move on. So the next thing I was going to bring up is Willow. Now, Willow is one of those movies where I never really saw the first Willow movie when it came out. I didn't see it until later. I think it had again to do with my family didn't watch me watching anything with wizards and magic and stuff like that all looked like it would turn me into some evil monster. But I watched it and I thought it was okay. I liked Val Kilmer in the original, and I like that Warwick Davis got a chance to shine, be out of the costume of Wicket, and a lot of the people, they were put in roles where they always had to dress up and put things on, and it gave one of these actors a chance to shine and show that they're just like us, just like anything, like any other person, And so all these years later, they're making this new series, and I mean, it's based off of something that failed as a movie, it's got a cultish following, and somehow I mean, it's an IP, right? So they probably maybe it was on the cusp of going to public domain or something, or I don't even know if it was if it's something that they just have the rights for that's like based on another product. I don't know if Willow's an original thing for Disney or not, but as much as I want to be excited for it, and as much as I'm glad that Warwick Davis gets another chance to shine in his later years and give this role that kind of made him famous. I think he's more famous for being an Ewok, really, but that this is at least he gets to show his face, and it also brings back Kilmer's ex-wife, Deborah
Joanne Wally.
I can't remember. Joanne Wally, she was beautiful. She's a beautiful actress. I remember that was also a selling point when I was a teenager, was Joanne Wally Kilmer was going to be in this movie. But I just wanted to see if anybody else was that interested in it. Like it looked okay.
Yeah, it has a really strong. The original has a really strong cult following to the point where I feel like it's the most overrated fantasy movie of all time. There's so many people who love it so much. I actually revisited it during COVID a couple years ago. I rewatched it because there might be the first inkling of the announcement of the show came out. For some reason, it was back in the public discourse. There might have been some leak about this show coming out or something a couple of years ago, and it was people were talking about it again, and I'm like, yeah, let me go and revisit this movie. Maybe it's been a long time, maybe it's better than I think. Nope, still overrated. And so I never thought that movie was great from the beginning. I remember Mark might remember this too, they were pumping the hell out of this movie when it came out. They advertised the hell of it. We used to quote the ad, the line where he goes, "You all great."
I was thinking about that this whole time we've been talking.
That's still that ad for that movie. What was that, like 30 years ago or more? Like
McDonald's glasses, probably.
Yeah. And it ended up, and then we finally went to see. I remember being super excited for it. Oh, this is going to be an epic fantasy. George Lucas is doing it. It's going to be so great. And I'm like, God, that movie was underwhelming.
Yeah.
And then it developed a cult following, and I'm like, why? And then I rewatched it recently. I'm like, yeah, still not very good.
Yeah.
I still have no interest in any follow-up project.
Back in 2020, when it was April of 2020, was 420 all month, and it was like 42020, and I did one of my 420 reviews on Willow, and I don't even remember what I watched hardly at all. And I wasn't that stoned, but I remember like watching it as a kid, not having that much of an impact on me, watching it years later, not having an impact on me, and then watching it for that 420 thing. And if I hadn't been, I'm glad that I hope that that's the reason why I don't remember it. But it just never really left that big of an impact on me, period. So.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say pretty much the same thing Alyssa did. I remember the ad campaign, remember the hype around it being huge, and then went and saw it. I'm like, that's like not really, does not at all live up to it. And also, I also watched it in the past like 10 or so years, and I was also underwhelmed. I was like, no, yeah, this movie is not good. So, but to be fair, I did see some of the trailers for the new one, and actually someone in the chat, I think, mentioned that it looks better than the original movie, and I think it does, and so I might give it a shot and see how it goes. But it's not a property that I think really needs to be revived. But if there's a huge following that wants to see more of it, then sure, why not?
Yeah, look,
I'll treat it like go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would say that as a kid, Wicket W. Warwick was my favorite Ewok. I was so big on Return of the Jedi. So when Warwick Davis ended up getting, front and center in this movie, I was really excited as, a slightly older kid at that point. And also you have Kilmer, who was just amazing. He was kind of like in the middle of his prime right there, doing tons of stuff. Joanne Wally, cute, a big George Lucas. There was a lot of excitement definitely to come and see it. And I think Bill Casey in the chat puts it perfectly, like the idea of Willow more than the movie Willow. There are lots of very cool moments in it. The Mad Mardigan sword spin and everything. Trust me, years later when I got into stunts, we were all doing the Mad Mardigan sword spin. Okay, that's what you could do. You pick up a broadsword,
Oh,
you can
yeah.
go flipping around and everything. Freaking awesome. Love that stuff. Totally ridiculous. Why would you do that with your weapon? But, you know, it's a fun thing to do. And yeah, there's a lot of good parts and there's a lot of good ideas in Willow. I just don't think as a movie it really came together. And I guess because of the cult following, that's the answer to it. I don't know why they would make this. I don't know who was demanding a return to Willow. But from the preview and stuff that we saw, production value looks better. It's nice to see some of the old characters back. Obviously, we're not going to get Val Kilmer in. But Joanne Wally, we get the brownies there, at least for a moment. There's going to be some cameos. This may be able to make more of the promise of what we thought that movie was going to be like in with the series. But I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I was okay with Willow as a kid.
I was going to make a joke about how it kind of looked like they were LARPing in it, but nah. I just said it though, didn't I? So it's still out there. So
well,
let's
the idea
segue.
also of just Willow now is like this grand wizard people are coming forward. It's like he had a disappearing pig and then he made a bird by the end of it. It's like,
yeah.
I'm glad he's evolved over the years. He's definitely grown.
So I think we can kind of combine Loki season 2 with Ant-Man since they're both going to be about Kang. Well, one was about Kang. Now we're still dealing with the TVA and everything, and we didn't get much from it other than Owen Wilson talking about it being like the Talking Heads song where they go, "This is not my beautiful house. How did I get here?" And that's all I got from what they talked about. But if anybody else has anything about Loki season 2, I mean, I'm excited for it. I should say that I'm very excited for Loki season 2 because WandaVision I thought was good. When Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out, I wanted to like it more than I did. Loki really was cool and different, and took the character in different places. Like I think it was really great to see that character keep going and expanding on his character, making him bigger, and he's much more interesting in the MCU to me than he is in the comics. And I think most of that has to do with Tom Hiddleston. But the ideas they've come up for this character, who became everybody's favorite villain in the MCU, and they've decided to just keep this going, and somehow it's working still. So I'm excited to see where they're going. They left on a great cliffhanger. And I also like that I don't know what the fuck is going to happen on that show. And I love that when I just literally don't know what's going to happen. And most of this stuff you can kind of see exactly where it's going to go. And this one, though, is different. And so I'll toss it out to you guys.
Yeah, and I agree with a lot of what you just said. I'm really excited about Loki. To me, it's so far my favorite Disney Plus show. Season 1 was. So I am. I think it's one of the projects for Phase 5 for next year. I am most excited about that, and Ant-Man, which we're also going to talk about too. The whole Kang thing. I'm really, really excited about Jonathan Majors getting to play Kang, and so he's going to be in both of those things. So I'm excited about that. I can give you a little bit because I just watched a video before we came on here that with a person who had seen the trailer at D23 and described it a little bit. It's nothing like, it still doesn't really tell you what's going to happen in this show. It sounds like it's from the beginning of the probably the very beginning of the season, and Loki is kind of running around in a TVA that is dark and empty. There's speculation that this is even a different TVA than the one he was in at the end of the first season, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. And he mentions being pulled through time, and that seems like something that might have happened off screen between seasons. We're not sure what's happening. And so we still don't know what's really happening, but I'm actually really excited, really excited for this show. And you're absolutely right, precisely because I have no idea what's going to happen. This is not something that is very easily predictable. Maybe a little bit more predictable, or maybe we'll have a little better, not predictable, but maybe we'll have a little better idea of what it could be after we see Ant-Man, because Ant-Man is first, I believe. So maybe we'll have a slightly better idea of what to expect in Loki season 2. But as of right now, I have no idea what to expect, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think Loki's kind of the real wild card of the MCU right now, where they can kind of do anything because of the way they're moving through time and variances and stuff like that. I think it does give it the most kind of flexibility, which I'm excited about. Yeah. Don't really know much, can't really say much anymore, except I'm excited to see it. And I do love, like Liz was saying, that they can really start to thread in this whole King threat storyline from multiple perspectives through multiple characters and multiple things. So it becomes a really big event down the road. I'm very excited with those pieces laying, because I think that's the one thing that Phase 4 really has been missing, which we'll touch on in a little while, is kind of an overarching storyline, a thread pulling everything together. It's been a little kind of loose and resetty, which it's needed to do, but I like now that we can start to see a thread, moving through all of these different properties and heroes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I'm eager for them to tie Loki into the greater MCU, because I feel like, I mean, there've been some hints here and there, but I feel like it's mostly been isolated. So that's mainly what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that this, and maybe Kang will be the through with that. But yeah, so that would be interesting. And yeah, I loved Loki season 1, and so yeah, I can't wait for season 2.
Oh, and apparently there is.
Does anybody have anything on Ant-Man?
Oh, I was just going to throw one more thing in about Loki real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, because apparently there is a funny exchange between Morbius and Loki in the trailer where Loki's like, "Well, I just don't want you to think I'm the bad guy," and he's like, "Well, who says that?" And he goes, "Captain America, Iron Man, Thor." You. He lists off everybody. It ends with you, and then Morbius is apparently just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, true." So that gets me excited that we're going to see, still see some of that really great comic interactions between those two. So that also has me excited. I just want to throw that out there too.
Oh, also real quick, it was also announced that Ke Kwan from Everywhere Everything at Once, and of course Short Round from Indiana Jones, The Temple of Doom, has been cast for season 2. So I'm really excited.
Yes.
I'm really excited to see him. Data, from Goonies.
Data from the freaking Goonies, man. That's what I said.
Booty traps. We quote that all the time around my house. So Data lives forever with us.
Yeah,
that's
that is
cool.
a really cool thing that he's, when I was a kid, I really loved Ke Kwan. Not just because of Short Round, but he was in a very short-lived sitcom with Elliot Gould and the mom from E.T. and the redheaded guy from Orville, who was in Critters, and his name is escaping me. And they played like this kind of mixed family of they adopted several kids that were different races, and no one knows this show. I swear to God, but me.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
it.
Actually, I think was it one for like half a year or something? Like was it one like
it was like
very
barely on, but for some reason in my head it was on for 20 years, and I can't let it go. even though there was probably only like 12 or 13
It
episodes or
does
something.
sound vaguely
Hey,
familiar.
Manimal only had like 6 episodes, but I swear that was like 2 seasons in my head as a kid. So, let's.
I remember
with between
Manimal a lot more
Short Round
clearly.
and Data and that sitcom, and then he just disappeared, and he like Chunk went and became a entertainment lawyer. Kehu Kwan disappeared too, and I've been missing him for all these years, and now he's back, and I think is he in Indiana Jones 5 as well, I think?
I don't think so. I think they just happened to meet up during D23. There was a very cute picture for him.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, if you want to have a great time, search out his Twitter feed. He puts out tons of old photos, and he is hilarious with his captions. So worth a subscribe there, worth a follow. So it's Twitter's a follow.
Excellent.
Right?
So the next thing we should talk about is Mandalorian season 3.
We're gonna skip Ant-Man.
I don't really have anything to say about Mandalorian. Oh, Ant-Man.
Yeah, let's do Ant-Man since we're talking about King.
We were gonna go to Ant-Man and then cut you off by.
So is there anything revealed about Ant-Man recently? Do we know anything more about
They
it?
showed them a trailer.
Yeah,
they didn't. Show
they got to see something.
Yeah, well, my understanding was it was only even a minor extension of the trailer that the people saw at Comic-Con, which also we did not see.
Yeah.
So people who were at Comic-Con and D23 didn't even get anything, a whole lot new on Ant-Man there. I just wanted to talk about Ant-Man and I'm excited about it. That's all. There's nothing. I mean, there's not any particular news. Kang is in it. It's going to be big, but I'm just excited about it. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, one of the nice follow-up bits of info is the writer for Ant-Man and the Wasp, Jeff Loveness, is also now headed up to do Avengers 5, The Kang Dynasty. So it's what we're really starting to see is that Ant-Man and the Wasp is, again, finally going to be an important film series, it's really going to be sort of a center where a lot of things are going to start branching off of. I think this sort of kicks off the whole Kang pursuit and so on, even more so than Loki, which I think they'll be able to carry on with that as well. So I think that's really kind of the big news outside of we got to see things you can't see. Which is so mean.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking for something, but I couldn't find it. So I'm back. I didn't really have anything for Ant-Man myself, just because I don't know anything about it other than Kang's in it.
Yeah, me too.
And it's probably in the quantum realm.
Yeah, and then Bill Murray is in it, as Bill Casey mentions in the chat.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's been confirmed who he's playing or what he's doing in this movie or anything like that, or if he's even in it for more than 5 minutes. I don't even.
Something that he had a relationship with Mrs. Ant-Man, with what's her name's
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer, thank you very much.
Yeah,
man, getting old sucks.
Yeah.
I think they have like some previous relationship, but that's kind of all that I got from any kind of news from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mandalorian season 3. I got nothing to say about it because I'm so on board already that it's like, and I'm just counting the days until Darrin and I and Don are talking about it again. I think it looks great. It's a live action cartoon. It's the thing that's been pretty consistent. He took over the Boba Fett show, and at this point, looking back on it, that was a good thing. It was a good thing because we got some good Mando stuff in there inside. It's like the center of a Tootsie Pop. We had to suck on that thing for a long time, and we finally got to the gooey center, and there was the thing we actually wanted. We actually got what we wanted at the center. It was great, and it was just everything around it.
I think
built around it.
I think part of the excitement on this, which is I'm glad to see from the trailer and the reveal, is this does seem to be a much more Mandalore-centric season. That there is kind of, while instead of it's just like free the kid, get the kid back, run around with the kid, there seems to be kind of a mission now. The fact that we've got Bo-Katan back, I mean, yes, give me more of that. We get to see a lot of Mandalorian fighters. We get to see apparently some work between the sects. So we've got some of the different surviving Mandalorian sects. Do they have to fight? Do they have to get together? Plus, we've got the Darksaber drama, which we know is going to be driving Bo-Katan nuts because she needs it to rule Mandalore, but she can't be given it. Like I said all that in order to follow what Rob said is, look, I'm already sold, and it looks good. So I'm excited. I didn't have anything to complain about.
I guess I haven't been as big on The Mandalorian because they did way too many episodes that were just the Seven Samurai over and over again. Like, I don't want to do any more episodes with the Seven Samurai, with them finding a village and getting people and helping them out. Like, don't do that. If they focus on Mandalore, then yes, I'm all on board. I just finally got caught up on all the animated shows. And so, yes, I want them to explore the whole Mandalore thing. I don't need an episode of them going off and saving a fucking village again.
I'm with Mark. I am absolutely with Mark. And it's kind of, honestly, to this point, why I feel Mandalorian is vastly overrated, because they just have that Seven Samurai plot over and over again. It is good when they stayed focused on like their serialized story, but they had too many side quests that were just so uninteresting, and I just never have found this show to be that great. But I am excited for it because of the fact that they are getting into the Mandalorian lore, and I find that all really interesting in Clone Wars and Rebels. In fact, I did a video. You all should watch it because it's got like 14 views. I did this several months ago on I think I called it the Saga of Mandalore, where I just broke down every episode that follows the saga of the planet Mandalore and the Mandalorian people, of the Clone Wars. So it goes to the Clone Wars, Rebels, and then the Mandalorian a little bit. The Mandalorian doesn't even really cover the saga of Mandalore that much up until season 3 will. And those couple episodes of Book of Boba Fett. And you put those all together, it's a really interesting story. And I am really, really interested in that story. And I can't wait to see more of it, which is the only reason that I'm excited about. And I do not expect, Mark, that they are going to do any more of the Seventh Samurai plot. I think that they're done with that. I think that this is going to focus.
See, I'm a bit more cynical. I think if not Seventh Samurai, that they'll have these side quests that are completely irrelevant to anything.
Some of the early buzz that I have heard about it, that it is going to focus more on that. I mean, that's what they're saying about it. That's what I've heard. So hopefully that is true, because that I'm really, really interested in. And honestly, I feel like the 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett were not only the best episodes of Book of Boba Fett, but they're some of my favorite episodes of The Mandalorian, because they actually focused on what I'm interested in. So if they continue with what they did in the Book of Boba Fett into season 3 of The Mandalorian, I'm going to love it. So I am excited, even if I do think the first 2 seasons are not as great as, in my opinion, as others make it out to be.
I want to also bring up, like you were saying, you just mentioned, commented to Marisu talking about the Star Wars galaxy feels so small. And you're absolutely right. We've talked about this to each other, probably online, offline, whatever, that it's time to get away from the Empire. It's time to get away from the First Order. It's time to get away from just Jedis and lightsabers. It's time to tell all the different stories and worlds and planets where other things are going on besides the conflict between those factions, that people are having adventures, and I want to see them. And I want to get into the corners of the different Star Wars world that we can explore. Ones that also the only, like, just less Amy Sedaris in them. That would be the one thing I would like, is less Amy Sedaris, even though Strangers with Candy is brilliant. But
look, I showed my wife. I showed my wife the preview after I saw it, and I kind of watched her exactly at that point, and her response was exactly mine. Was totally into it, and till we saw Amy Sedaris, and was like, oh, and then we're back into the little things. Again, nothing against her. All I'm telling you is that character, Pelimato, pulls me out of the world every time she's on screen, and that's my only real criticism there.
I didn't know who Amy Sedaris was for a long time, but then I was watching an episode of Book of Boba Fett, and she was in it, and I was listening to her voice, and I was like, "Hey, that's Princess Carolyn from BoJack Horseman." And then now, every time she talks, all I see is Princess Carolyn.
Yeah. It's too much of a modern person in the world to do it. Well, look, the one thing that I'm excited about, not only with The Mandalorian, and we can link this up to one of the other shows that, again, they talked briefly about, we got no more of, which is Ahsoka. I'm also excited to see about with Rosario Dawson returning. But I would love to have an introduction here if we're going to do it and tie these worlds together. The character that I'm waiting for the most in Ahsoka is Sabine Wren. And I would love her to show up in Mandalorian. I love that character so much.
Yeah, actually, it bugs me that they're talking about, fighting for the crown, the leadership of Mandalore without her being involved. I think she needs to very much be involved in that conversation. So what I'm hoping is, even if she doesn't play a big role in season 3, after she does whatever she needs to do, go off and find Ezra in Ahsoka series season 1, then maybe at least she can be a big part of Mandalorian season 4, because I don't feel like you should really have true conversation about Mandalore and the Mandalorians and who's going to lead it and the political stuff and all of that stuff without involving Sabine Wren.
Well, so Sabine kind of gave it up to Bo-Katan, from what I recall from the bits of the show. So I think you're right. This would be a great way to sort of link her character into the conversation of and maybe weigh a lot of that dark saber drama in through there. So we're totally speculating, folks. Sorry, we got excited.
Yeah, she had the dark saber for a little while. Yeah, she did give it up to Bo-Katan, who took it without winning it in battle, which I guess was what her downfall was. Yeah, but I feel like her family played a big role in the whole political scene. Like, she needs to be ultimately, I think, back into this conversation for me. And even if it's not season 3, we know she's going to be in Ahsoka season 1. That's been confirmed.
Yeah.
But I would love to see. I'd love to see her pop up in season 3. But if not, then at least come back in season 4, because she needs to be a part of this.
Yes to all that.
Did I hear some news that they cast someone to play Ezra Bridger?
They did. I didn't write down, but they did cast Ezra Bridger. Yeah.
Oh, that's been confirmed? I've heard rumors for months, but
no, they just confirmed it, I think, this past week.
Okay.
I can look it up while we're discussing.
Yeah, I saw a picture of the dude. Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Andor?
More, please.
Yeah, well, what you were saying before was almost a good segue into Andor, Rob.
Yeah.
You were talking about, let's get away from the Jedi and let's get away from the typical Star Wars stuff, and let's explore different worlds and different characters. I was just watching a video before we got on here that was talking about the early critical reaction of Andor for those who were lucky enough to have seen the first 4 episodes already. And that is a lot of the buzz, is that it does feel still feels like Star Wars, like it still feels like it's in that universe, but it's a different kind of story. It's more grounded. It's more like street level, as it were, for Star Wars, more regular people, not as much, lightsaber fights or no lightsaber fights or any of that grandiose stuff. And that actually has me really interested in the show. So I'm really curious to see that kind of Star Wars.
It's, and I know this is probably a weird place to mention it, but I don't know if any of us are talking about it on any of our channels, but I want in if anybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
I'll do it myself if I gotta.
It's sorry, just want to jump in. It's Iman Isfani who has been cast as Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka there, so I'm excited. No, I'm not. Look, this is, and I've said this many times, this is the show that I was least excited about hearing about. I don't care about the character. I don't care about Cassian Andor. I wasn't super excited about him with Rogue One. Interesting, but okay. Didn't know where they were going. At this point, from the visuals, the most excited I have been about a Star Wars show in ages. This looks right. They filmed everything on location. They did not use the big wraparound video screen that they use so much in Mandalorian and everything else, and I think overused in Obi-Wan Kenobi. There is a much more solid feel to this. And yeah, like Alyssa was saying, the feedback that we've got from the people that have watched this is like an HBO drama in its weight and pacing. And I would love that so much. Give me some of that. Do your Skeleton Crew kids show with Jude Law and a bunch of 10 and 12-year-olds loose in the galaxy. Fine, do that. But also give me something like this, some weight that I can be really excited about Star Wars again with. So I don't have plans currently to discuss it. I would like to do at least a mid-season or full season discussion at the end, just because we might be talking some Daredevil stuff with Rob in between them. We're trying to figure some things out, but that can branch over to another show too.
All right, yeah, like if we wanted to do one big two videos where we do the halfway through and then at the end, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
because I don't know. I almost want to just enjoy it as opposed to worrying about, I've got to suck it in and give some immediate feedback. I'm not sure. I'm also just hesitant. Don't suck me in. Don't Obi-Wan Kenobi me.
We're planning here in the middle of a video where we're supposed to be talking about this stuff. But look, this is how we spread the word. Hey, wait, did they say they're going to talk? I don't know. So anyway, so we don't get too. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, I'm with Andor. I'm not as excited as you guys.
I don't care about Andor the character either.
It's
the universe or the world that it's.
I saw the trailer. I saw the trailer and how beautiful it looks, but yeah, I can't get past the character though, and plus naming the show Andor, and this is a side character that I don't care about, and that's what I'm still thinking of, and I'm glad you guys are really excited for it and think it's going to be this nice original slice of the Star Wars universe, but I still need to be won over. I'm going to come in with an open mind,
yeah,
but they have to win me over because the premise seems like a very why do we need this premise? And so they have to, and so was the Solo movie, and the Solo movie failed to win me over. But I hope that because to me it's like an unnecessary, I'm way more interested in Ahsoka and other stuff like this. For the Andor thing, I'm just I guess, but if I watch it and this is great, HBO type show, it's amazing, then good. Then I will be totally open to loving it. But at the moment, they need to win me over.
Yeah, that's why I don't plan on reviewing it, because again, we've been fooled before, folks. We've been fooled before, and nobody wants to watch a show where we just go, God, that kind of sucked this week, didn't it? Nobody likes that, so we don't want to do that show.
Well,
great George W. Bush once said, "Fool me once, shame on you. You won't fool me again."
Wow! I'm gonna put a pin on my next Saturday night. And if Andor's 3-episode premiere is really good, I think I'll leave my Saturday night open for a video if anybody wants to maybe join me on it. I don't know.
Sorry. Can't do
and
that.
If any of these others want to suddenly go, yeah, or whether you want to dunk on it or you want to praise it, if it's good, if I think it's so good that I need to talk about it on the next Saturday, I will plan on it, and I'll let everybody know by like Thursday night, Friday.
And I just wanted to clarify, Mark, I'm not super excited about it. I have been all along saying, why do we need this show? It's just a prequel to a prequel to a prequel. It's a character nobody cares about. But what I was saying is hearing that we're getting this new slice of Star Wars is the first thing that's actually made me interested in it. Now I am kind of intrigued by it, whereas up until I heard that, I had no interest in it. I was going to watch it either way, but now I have a little more hope. Maybe it will be something that I'm interested in. But ultimately, I still feel that, as you do, that it still needs to win me over. I am not won over by it yet.
I think this is a good place to. Well, I'm going to show you something that'll segue into the next thing. So I want to talk about, because I don't really have that much to say about this, but Captain America and the New World Order that's coming out like in 2024, something like that.
So,
why I was running around was when we were talking about Ant-Man and Loki and everything. And I was trying to find a specific comic because we were talking about who was probably going to be in Quantum Mania. And I showed this off in one of my recent unboxing videos. But I wanted to show it off again here to anybody who hadn't seen it, because I have this is Tales of Suspense number 94. And this is the first appearance of MODOK. And he's right. Let's see. Come on. He's right there in the corner. But he's all over this book, and I just kind of wanted to show it off because I have a couple of comics to show off in a second as we switch over to Captain America and the New World Order, which I wasn't that excited for until they announced that Tim Blake Nelson's returning as the leader. And suddenly I was interested again. Not because it's like Anthony Mackie's not going to be a good Captain America or anything like that. It's just after Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm a little more skeptical.
Yeah, I assume.
Rob, you gotta try better. You gotta do better.
Yeah.
My only question is that since Leader has been pretty much primarily a Hulk villain, I'm really interested in seeing how they work this in. Will I don't know. But before I talk anymore about let's pass this off to you guys, I'm going to show off a couple more comics that I did again show off on my box unboxing, but y'all might not have seen it. This is Tales to Astonish number 63 and number 64. This is the first appearance of Leader. He's the guy that's being held by Giant Man. And number 64 is the first full appearance of the Leader. He's from the 60s, guys. And it was really cool to get my hands on these. I got my hands on these before this was even announced because I just love Hulk stuff, period. And I've been wanting the Leader for a long time. So I just wanted to show off a bit there. Sorry.
Well, and to tie into your first comic there, MODOK is actually confirmed in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So,
is he? Okay.
Yes,
that's why I was.
Because
it was in a Captain America issue that MODOK first showed up. Is why I was segueing to Captain America.
No, it was no, perfect. I was like, before I forget the notes and things.
Oh well. Also, they talked about that they're putting the character of Sabra in Captain America: New World Order as well. This is her first cameo appearance in Incredible Hulk number 250. Doesn't matter to anybody but us, like super hardcore comic book nerds. But there it is.
Well, and if you've been thinking of a possible tie-in there, like you were talking, Mark and I have been floating around a theory on our She-Hulk discussions.
Me too.
And that's going to say we've all been floating around in here, so this is kind of a perfect lean over onto that. That we are kind of hoping Leader ends up being the secret bad guy in the series that's after Jennifer Walters. if you've been watching, we know that there is somebody using the wrecking crew to go after her. We're all hoping it's the leader, and this would perfectly kind of reintroduce and then blend him over into the big screen. So
I agree.
So
I agree. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and that would be more of a Hulk tie-in too. Like that would it would make more sense to bring him back in something that's related to the Hulk before just bringing him back into Captain America randomly.
Yeah.
So does anybody have anything else on Captain America?
Yeah, no, just that I was going to say I'm glad the main villain isn't the power broker.
Yes.
I just kind of hope they just sort of pretend like that never happened and just never bring it up again.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I was trying to think. I couldn't remember the name. It was what kind of broker or some kind of broker, the power broker. Yeah, I was just saying if she's in this movie, then I'm out.
I mean, she can be in it as long as she's not the main villain. I don't care.
No, I won't like the parts that she's in.
Yeah.
And no big fake speeches from freaking you could do better. You need to do better. Oh,
No.
You're right. I'm gonna totally go against all my donors and billions of dollars and listen to some guy get in the costume and give me a speech.
It's a really good speech, though, man.
Yeah.
So the next thing I have is Werewolf by Night. I thought this was going to be a series. It turns out it's going to be a movie. But the thing I really liked about the reveal, that trailer to me was awesome. That was a great throwback trailer. The way that it started with the old kind of looking lights that you'd see in like an 80s CBS evening movie, the Saturday night movie, and then it cuts to black and white, and it's got the creepy voiceover from back in the, like that you'd hear in an older movie, like a trailer from like the 50s or 60s. I like the style of it. I like that it's being directed by a composer. The Aquino is doing it.
Giacchino, Michael Giacchino. He's directing it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he directed the animated short Trek. I think that was his first foray into directing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I really dug the style of it, even though I'm sure it's going to be in color. I've never read a Werewolf by Night comic. It's one of the few out there that I never read. It's werewolves. It's, Elsa Bloodstone is another, like, these are characters that the only reason these books are getting, bought, really, they got bought a long time ago. They got bought when they were talking about Moon Knight, because they thought Moon Knight would be fighting werewolves. Sorry, everybody, that didn't happen. So you guys bought that book super early on spec. But Werewolf by Night is here, and this got me not just because of the trailer, but because of one actress she keeps coming up for some reason, and I love her so much. Harriet Sansom Harris is in this trailer as super over the top villain, or telling everybody that the hunters you're gonna go out there, one of you's a monster, and she's been in everything. I love me a great character actor. I remember her, like, the thing that cemented that actress in my mind is season 1, episode 11 of the X-Files, called Eve, where she plays multiple versions of herself, and she has this great scene where one of the versions of herself is in the asylum, and she's quoting John Lennon, talking about "I am her and she is me and we are all together." And that actress is so phenomenal that when I got to see her in this trailer, just being over the top. I love it when great character actors get their moment in these big productions, like Marvel productions and stuff, where they finally get to a good meaty role to shine, even if it's an over the top role or whatever. Those are the things that made me excited about this. Plus, it does kind of look like they're gonna be a little dark, which is pretty cool. I'll throw it out to you guys.
Do we know if this is in the MCU, or is this?
It is in the MCU, yeah.
It is.
We don't know how it connects to the MCU exactly, but it is a part of the MCU. We just don't know how it's going to connect. I watched a trailer breakdown video, and there are these dudes who are wearing outfits that look somewhat similar to the TVA. So there was speculation, oh, maybe it's the TVA. I don't think so. I think they're wearing different uniforms. I think they're having prodding sticks that are different from. Yeah, I don't think it's I don't think it's the what do you call it, the pruners that the TVA had. I think it still remains to be seen how this connects to the rest of the MCU. But what I will say, what stood out to me in watching this trailer, so that that actress that you mentioned, Rob, she is sitting around with a bunch of, it appears to be like werewolf hunters or monster hunters all together, and she's like, one of you is really a monster. And so basically what it seems the plot is that they are literally playing werewolf. Like with a bunch of what's these monster hunters, and one of them is really a monster. They need to figure out who is the werewolf. And I'm like,
that's a really awesome point.
That's pretty clever, actually. The plot is they're literally playing werewolf.
Yeah, it's a fun cast. It's another one that I showed my wife, who got instantly excited about it. It's got the whole old Universal Monsters vibe to it, which is going to be great that Marvel's going to reintroduce the Dark Universe where Universal couldn't do it, which would be kind of hilarious. Yeah, I don't know if this is a one-off or LinkedIn or a prequel, where this is in time, if this is it, and then will this link into somewhere else? People have talked, is Blade going to show up? Obviously, yeah, there was a long Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight crossover, both in each other's comics. So that could be season 2 for Moon Knight. Yeah, I don't know. To me, this is the most interesting, only in the sense of this could just be a fun one-off, sort of connected, but not really to whatever they want to do next kind of thing. And the fact that it does seem a little over the top, and it is perfect for October and Halloween. Look, man, Disney and Marvel's having fun with the properties they have. Okay.
And Desiree in the chat talking about Midnight Suns and the supernatural team that they can put together, with Blade and everything else, Ghost Rider. Werewolf by Night would be a cool addition, to have like the Justice League as their dark team. The MCU's got Marvel's got Midnight Suns. So it would be the start of them slowly building up with Blade coming, and Ghost Rider's already been introduced by a little show known as, I don't know, Agents of freaking S.H.I.E.L.D. So we've already got three or four characters already, with like more than that if you count Moon Knight. So we could be getting Midnight Suns. They've got that new strategy game coming out pretty soon as well. So they've been pushing a new comic for Midnight Suns right now as well. So I don't know. I think that would be a good place for it.
Oh, Desiree, Black Knight from Eternals as well. Indeed.
Yeah. But I do want to add that what I heard was Blade is not going to be in Werewolf by Night. They wanted him, but they couldn't.
No.
Yeah, what's his name? Schedule couldn't. What's the
Mahershala Ali?
Yeah, his schedule didn't fit with it, but they actually were hoping to get him in Werewolf by Night, but he's not.
Yeah, I haven't watched the trailer for this yet, but this does not look appealing to me. I'm not into those classic monster movie type things, and I don't know. We'll see. Maybe, I'll probably check it out anyway and see how it goes. I'm just not a big horror fan.
Yeah, and I also heard that somebody referred to it as a movie, but I heard it's an hour-long special, so it's not even a movie.
Oh, really?
It's a 1-hour thing.
Oh, wow.
So
it's their Halloween special.
Okay, it's their Halloween. It's the MCU Halloween special. Is what it is.
So a commercial for an introduction of a character that's gonna feel like a commercial. Okay. that kind of like that just went like that just like oh no. But whatever. If it's a good hour, it's a good hour. So next thing we got is Thunderbolts.
Yes. The internet's been loving this.
And I've gone up and down on this one, and I am excited for it. I just feel like I understand now. I mean, they put everybody that's already been introduced in some form somewhere in the MCU already. So that keeps them from having to do like a movie for all these characters when they've already been established in other ones. So I understand why they're doing that, but at the same time, I'm like, when you have this many characters at your disposal, could you maybe have trimmed some of these people out for new characters that could be introduced here? Um, that was a little disappointing. Not to say that I don't dislike any of these characters. A couple I don't really care anything about, but it's not like I don't dislike them. I just didn't care if they ever showed up again. Um, and my thing was, I have comic brain and MCU brain a little bit here. That's like, like why would Bucky be on the same team as U.S. Agent? Do we need Red Guardian and Yelena? And when I see like what they're kind of going for of not the Suicide Squad of Marvel, so you could see the father and the daughter arguing. You could see Bucky arguing with Winter Soldier. Like all the shenanigans of becoming a solid team of misfits. I see where they're going with all of this, and it could still be good. And I want to definitely be like I was with She-Hulk, where it's like judge it after you see the product. But I'm a little skeptical on this one, just a little bit, because I do think that everybody in this cast is great. And Ghost to me was like, why? I personally thought, okay, great, she was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I didn't feel anything for this character, so I'll toss it out to y'all.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of feedback from it. I know there was a lot of speculation on who would be on the team, and that when it did come out, it was kind of like a bunch of super soldiers and the Ghost, which is fine. Obviously, I wanted Zemo to be on the team. That's the thing I'm thinking of. Where's Zemo?
Abomination.
Abomination. Yeah, we've been watching She-Hulk. We've kind of speculated those possibilities. Is this Tim Roth coming back into the MCU? What's really going on with that? Honestly, I have to think that there's something else going on with this. Whatever's going to be the reason for bringing this team together. I mean, just doing a Marvel Suicide Squad seems dumb and redundant. And I don't think that they're just kind of going after. There's no reason for them to chase after that idea that DC is doing. So, do all these people live? Are some of them temporary team members? Do other ones come in? Is this a feint? I mean, Marvel's very good at kind of fooling us, because you're right. Even most of these team members kind of make sense until you put Winter Soldier, who were like, hasn't he kind of redeemed and is moving on? Isn't he going to be working with Captain America? So I think because of the questions and the makeup of the team, part of me is like, I got to suspect that there's a reason why this team is being put together that nothing else in the MCU or no other hero group can kind of deal with. And since it's projected so far in the future, I'm kind of like, let me see what goes on in the world before it comes up. I mean, will I watch it? Of course, I watch all the Marvel stuff. Am I especially excited about it? No. But that's just, again, I don't know anything about it or what they want to do with it. So I'm kind of reserved.
They were also like Hulk hunters, established by a guy that I'm shocked. This was the big shocker for me, was that they didn't have old Thunderbolt Ross as Red Hulk, who would be perfect if you're not gonna have Abomination or whatever. You're gonna have Thunderbolt Ross was the guy who created the Thunderbolts. Yes,
and they're bringing Sam Neill back to play him.
William Hurt is gone, and then Sam Elliott. I said that in the video that I made. Yeah. Bring Sam Elliott back as Thunderbolt Ross. He was perfect. He was perfect as Thunderbolt Ross.
That they could tie in the first one and really,
guy. He made that joke in another discussion.
I did. I've already made that joke. You're right.
But yeah, no, that would be cool. I mean, I'm just kind of like ambivalent about this movie. Like, I don't have strong feelings either way. Honestly, I'm not like, oh, I really don't want to see this, or I'm not like, yeah, I'm really excited about it. Just like it seems like it's going to be a comedy, honestly, to me, with the Red Guardian and with what's her face, Florence Pugh's character, and Val in it. It just seems like they're going to go for some hijinks, and I mean that could be fun. I don't know. It's not something I'm going to get excited about. It's probably not something I would put any thought into whatsoever, except for, on my YouTube page, there's all these thumbnails for all these videos about it, and I'm reminded about its existence all the time. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to put a lot of thought into it until it comes out, however many years from now that it comes out. And I'll see it and hopefully I'll enjoy it. But that's really, I'm not, pumped about it or anything.
So I got to be honest, I hadn't heard the announcement on this one, so I had to look it up while you guys were talking. So it's going to have the Red Guardian, what's her, Yelena is her name, Taskmaster.
Oh God!
Freaking the Ghost and Bucky and the John Walker. So that's going to be the team.
Yeah.
And Val is
Yeah,
going
I
to also
forgot
be
about
Val's kind of the Taskmaster. What a like bad villain. I will say Ghost was one of my favorite things about Ant-Man too. Like I thought it was a very like dynamic like character, and you would sympathize with her. I don't know how she would fit into a movie like this, but the one thing I will say is that I'm poised to like this movie better than Suicide Squad because they introduced the freaking characters first instead of just trying to throw them into the movie without introducing that. Bothers the shit out of me. That's why I don't like any of these freaking DC movies, because they just try too hard to be like Marvel, and just throw us into this like, oh, here's a team of all these villains, but we've never seen them before and don't care about them. At least I will be familiar with these characters.
So much so as that we can fake you out and say, this is our team. Actually, we're going to kill them all off in the first 5 minutes. Here's the real team over here. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. At least they've all been introduced. So I'm going to like it more than Suicide Squad probably. But again, I'm still not like, this is not one I'm going to give a lot of thought to.
This could be a situation where sometimes it's the creative team that messed up, and some of these characters could be better utilized here, given better if their direction and writing is better. Because if you want to, there's 3 people in this movie or this show that if you like to see things get dunked on, you need to go over to Darren's channel over at These Reviews and watch me and Darren and Corey just completely decimate this movie. And it was everybody that got a hit on this, like every single hit. And now there's 3 of the people from that movie in this movie. One is, look, I do not usually care about certain, like when they gender swap or race swap. If the part is played right, I don't care. But Taskmaster is a guy, like, you didn't even know what it messed up that character so bad. And then like the person I thought was dead, at the end of Black Widow. Maybe I just don't want to remember the end of Black Widow or any of parts of Black Widow.
We've all wiped certain parts from our heads.
But like, if they were going to bring back Taskmaster, I was like, oh, great. Okay. This is their chance to redeem. And they're like, Olga Kurylenko. And it's like, I got nothing against Olga. I'm one of the 2 people that like Quantum of Solace. I like Magic City. I like her. I liked her in she's been in a lot of stuff. I like her. But Taskmaster is a dude, and if they had gotten the origin story right, I wouldn't care if it was Olga Kurylenko. I wouldn't care if it was a girl. They just messed up the origin story so bad that I just didn't want to see another version of this character unless they could at least get that right. Do it like they did with Iron Man 3, where they pulled the Mandarin fast one, and then He found out in the Hail to the King. He found out in Hail to the King that there really was a Mandarin. They course corrected. They made sure that Ben Kingsley's character knows that he is not happy that he was pretending to be him, and then it pays off in Shang-Chi, and we get the Mandarin back, and they did a better job, and they course corrected. If they had done that here, fine. And this is one of those times where I try really hard to turn comic brain off, but there's just certain things that just that like one little and I go, no, I'm drawing a line here. Every once in a while, since I am always, I try to be so accommodating to everyone. I just want this for Taskmaster. Give him, redo it, reboot it. Forget that Black Widow happened, and just do it again. Sorry, as soon as you said that, Mark, that's why I went because I was fine. If we had gotten through, if you had not mentioned it, I'd have forgotten for a little while until I looked at it again. So sorry I had to snap a little bit there. Fuck.
Well, unless anybody else has anything else to add, let's jump over to maybe a more positive Marvel storyline, something that's gotten a lot of us excited.
So I'll turn it over to you, Darrin.
And that is Secret Invasion, which we actually got a trailer for. They've talked a long time about. This is coming up, I think, in spring. It's at early 2023, spring 2023. So it's coming up very soon. I am super excited about this. But I do have some questions I do want to toss out to everybody else along with your opinions on it, because first off, I'm convinced that anything we saw in the trailer is all first episode. Maybe some of the first two. I don't think that we've seen anything else that's anymore. I don't think they're putting anything else, any other information out. This is supposed to be what they have touted this as their first big crossover event. And to me, that's where the question comes in. Crossover with what? I mean, the MCU is a crossover. Ever since post-Avengers, we've had characters popping up in other movies and showing up, and we get Spider-Man and Doctor Strange together, and we get everybody in a Captain America movie, and then we've gotten so many crossovers of things. Is it with the Disney Plus shows? Well, Disney Plus is built on all of the movie characters. I mean, She-Hulk is probably the biggest one. We've had so many different things in. Are we talking about the Netflix shows? Because Kingpin's already shown up in Hawkeye. We got Daredevil's, we know is going to show up in She-Hulk. And there's no real, and otherwise, if you're not talking about characters, storylines are the big crossover term, but there's no consistent storyline through Phase 4 so far. There's a lot of just kind of one-offs. So to me, the big question is what is the crossover event? And this is where I'm going to speculate with my own personal stories, because to me, there is only one thing left that this show could potentially cross over with.
Yeah.
And that's Marvel Television, specifically Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know a lot of people want to see Quake in. I want Coulson back. But if we do also talk storylines, there is a storyline in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that could cross over. That's at the end of season 4 before season 5, when they all get kidnapped and sent into space. They could easily have gotten kidnapped and put into some scroll device. I don't know all the specifics on the original comic storyline of Secret Invasion, but while the heroes were replaced, they weren't killed. They were put somewhere. So there is a potential where you could have an on-the-ground S.H.I.E.L.D. team ready for Fury to grab, reintroduce some of these TV characters that are already known that don't have a big storyline backup behind them. And then you could get all the other things. I mean, again, I realize this is pure speculation, and I can see how excited Mark is right here. But to me, this is the only thing that makes sense if you talk about a crossover event, because we've already had the Disney shows interact with every other part of the MCU. This is the only one that we haven't. And look, they're bringing them. Netflix characters are on Disney. we already have them coming over again. Kingpin. We've got Matt Murdock coming in. We know there's talk of bringing in Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. So Netflix has already come in. This is the only other part of the MCU that hasn't really been acknowledged. And why recast any of these characters when you already have fan favorites? Everyone from the show is already transferred over into the comics. Quake is from the comics. May is now in the comics, and so is Fitzsimmons, some of the most popular characters now within there. So, and everybody wants Coulson back. Plus, you had May already shooting a bunch of Star Wars stuff. Would have been very easy to have her just go across the lot and shoot some Secret Invasion stuff, is all I'm saying. So, anyway, I want to throw that out because, again, what is a crossover event to you guys? And where do you think this is going to go? Is it just different characters? And how is that a big thing outside of what we've seen?
No,
elsewhere?
I think you're right.
Well,
I'm not just trying to be overly hopeful. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to shoot down. Rob looked really excited there. And I don't mean to shoot it down, but my interpretation of a big crossover event is this would be the first Disney Plus show that brings in a whole bunch of different characters, because no Disney Plus show has really done that. We've had the Hulk and She-Hulk. Mostly it's pretty much sticks to the title characters in each Disney Plus show. So I just took it as this is the first Disney Plus show that's going to bring in a whole bunch of different people from all over the MCU, because no Disney Plus show has done that. So that's all it's been to me. I thought, to me, like, and I just like, actually, honestly, until you started talking about all of that, I didn't assume, I mean, it never occurred to me that it would be anything but that. That just kind of just seemed like, I mean, I just assumed that's what it was and never thought of anything else. So I don't know. I don't want to shoot down your guys' hopes and dreams. I know you guys are big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, and maybe that's what it'll be. I wouldn't get my hopes up too much for that. I just think it means it's the first Disney Plus show bringing in a bunch of different people like the movies have done, but not the shows.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, stuff like WandaVision's brought in minor characters, but not like, you know, like the what's his face from Ant-Man and shit. But it's, I think, yeah, I agree. This is how I took it as well, that they're bringing in like the big guns from the movies for this show.
Yeah.
Well, and they totally should. I mean, if you're going to follow it, Secret Invasion, you know, deals with replacement of heroes and politicians and people in power. Is you should have a massive number of cast and cameos and people in the question of who is who and who's real, for sure. And I completely agree that. Again, my thing is just like the first crossover event seems to imply something kind of like what we haven't seen before. And
well, we haven't seen that on Disney Plus, is what I'm saying.
Sure,
like, it's the first crossover event on a Disney Plus show. That's how I took it. That's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, I know. But then you shoot down my hopes and dreams, and I don't want any of it. I don't want you to get your hopes and dreams shut down if it doesn't happen.
She's right to bring us down a little bit off this.
Be prepared for different possibilities.
I completely expect that I'm not going to see any of these characters again, and if I do, I will be pleasantly surprised. I just like to throw out that I'm like, you know, there is a path where you can make this work to tie all of these disparate elements in right here and still do all of your bigger crossover. It just gives you, hey, here's some team members I don't have to do a big introduction on, and we can just move on with the storyline. With like 3 lines, you could cover all of it.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to mention, though, I forgot to say this before. Philip Coulson did get a name drop in that Loki scene that I mentioned earlier, where he was talking to Mobius and he was listing off. He was like, "Oh, well, who says you're evil?" And he lists off a whole bunch of people. He actually mentioned Philip Coulson as well, since he killed Philip Coulson. So he's going to be apparently name dropped in that Loki scene. So
why do I keep saying Loki keeps giving me hope, man?
Maybe.
We Shield fans, we are a hardy bunch. We will hold on to hope until unless, you know, something really terrible happens, to somebody who was on that show, you know, like when people start to like years from now, we're still going to be doing it. I don't care. They can just do it with green screen. They can get stunt doubles. They can do all this stuff. They can make it animated. I don't care. They can CGI the characters. I don't like. We'll hold on while these people are still able to, in some fashion, do it. Because we believe in those the Shield being the Shield. The Marvel Universe needs Shield. And that's, you know, this is great because this was something that I've been holding off on for so long. I haven't shown this to people on my channel. I haven't shown this to my friends. I haven't shown this to anyone. I've been waiting for it for Dee's channel, but we're doing it here since we're talking Secret Invasion and we're talking Nick freaking Fury, and we're getting our hopes and dreams up, just getting ready to crush. So I'm gonna rise our spirits back up again, Darren.
Okay,
because I have something I need to show you. I need something to show you. It's the most amazing thing. All right. I picked up something, and I just have to finally show it. This is Strange Tales, number 135. The first appearance of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra in comics. Nick Fury on the cover, Hydra on the cover, Nick Fury, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Jack Kirby goodness that has also the first appearance of the freaking helicarrier, all drawn by Jack Kirby. This is a fantastic book. This is a key of all freaking keys for a S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. This isn't like the first appearance of Nick Fury. This isn't the first appearance of Phil Coulson, but S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra. It's like the Empire. For us, it's like the Empire versus the Rebels. That is the only reason why I even had this queued up, so I could have this playing as we did it, because I've been waiting to unveil this motherfucker for so long. And this, I didn't get this graded. I'm not getting this graded because I plan on reading it. This is going down. This is getting buried with me. So anyway,
yeah. And look, Alyssa, I will just say, I mean, as I said, this is my hopes and dreams. I put them definitely in the minor percentage of actually happening. And if it doesn't happen, that's fine. I will just project those hopes onto the next Disney Plus show that comes out. So that's all.
Same as with Mephisto.
And Mark, you're off.
Even though they'll never let Mephisto be in there because it'd be too close to religious stuff. So they probably.
So I had a question about Secret Invasion. What? So in the trailers, Nick Fury is going around Earth, right? And all the stuff I've seen, he was like out into space, and all these other people like Hulk and shit. Well, maybe Hulk's something different, but he was out in space doing shit. So what's the deal? Like, why is he back on Earth? Like, that confused me.
Well, that is the opening bit of the trailer. Is he beams to Earth, and Maria Hill's like, "What the hell, man? You haven't been on Earth. Why haven't you here?" And his response, "Well, this is different."
Yeah, we've been like, we haven't even like really talked about the damn thing. Like, actually talked about it. Like, this is like Skrull invasion. This is taking taking the place of superheroes like in the comics. Now, I know it's not going to be that, not fully, but we got Rhodey getting questioned by Fury. Who do you trust? You got Ben Mendelsohn back. This is also like the best cast. You got Olivia Colman, Ben Mendelsohn, Samuel L. Jackson, Maria Hill's back. What's her name? Kobe Smulders. Emilia Clarke is okay. I got ready to be really mad because I thought they were casting her as Daisy Johnson when she's actually playing Abigail Brand, who's like the head of SWORD. And like SWORD is the space station that they have up in space that is for like preemptive alien invasions. They're up there specifically to be the shield up there. but as a sword. So like there was the shield and now there's the sword, and Fury's been up there just monitoring galactic crap forever. And he's been up there too long, and now he's like super paranoid, and he knows something's coming, and he's all these people not trusting him again. And this is gonna be so sick, you guys. It's gonna be so sick because I was getting Winter Soldier vibes all over this, just the way it felt again. Like not the same story. There's no Cap, there's no Bucky, but I got that same spy feeling again that we've been missing since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been over. And I just, Fury is such a capable character, and Maria Hill's a capable character, and there's always twists and turns that you never know what's going to happen. And I don't even care if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show up. That would be a bonus. But it's already, to me, built to be a great thing that at first I was not really, I didn't have any hopes for it. But then I saw this trailer, and I know that trailers can fool you. I definitely, but I don't think this one is. And I think you're right. I think they're only showing us a little bit because there's some real surprises going to happen in this one.
Yeah. And I wonder how long they're going to say Nick Fury has been up there, because in that conversation with Marie Hill, it's like, oh, you've been gone for years. So I've heard speculation that everything after Winter Soldier was a Skrull, and we haven't seen, like, he's been up there since Winter Soldier. I don't know if that's, I would go that far, but they may bust out that, the Nick Fury has been up there for a while and the Skrull has been taking his place for a long time. And that may just be the first surprise. I think that this is a show that's going to be full of surprises, and that's what I'm really excited about. But, do you guys have any thoughts on like how long he's actually been up there?
I think he's been up there since post snapping. I hate calling it the blip. But I think since he came back from that, he's been gone, because the next movie that is really post-blip is Spider-Man No Way Home, or Far From Home. And then he and Maria have already been replaced by Ben Mendelsohn and his lieutenant there. So I think like post-blip, then he was like, I need to deal with this stuff. And I think it's been gone since then. So that's probably like 3 years MCU time. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to keep track of where everything is timeline-wise. Yeah. But I'm excited just because it looks like a nice return to that Winter Soldier, Captain America Winter Soldier feel of being a spy-centric, edgy, tense storyline. Again, I realize the live-action cartoon stuff has its applications and certain shows, and that's great. You want to do your goofy She-Hulk? I'm there for it most of the time. But give me the other side too. Give me a dark and gritty, who can I trust, who is real, spy thriller. And then pepper anything in between. Just give me that breadth. That's all that I want. Just don't give me Boba Fett.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has anything, but yeah, it's what I feel like it's been missing. The MCU's been missing, and but it is very personal. This is very personal. I'm biased on this. I can't help it. 7 years of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Winter Soldier, and just good Cap movies, good moments of Fury and things like that I've been missing, and so this feels like a nice return to form. So yeah, I'm ready for it. And I don't know if anybody else has anything else. I know we've been going for 2 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's good, but I think we've covered all. I mean, there's a couple of little side bits, but I think that's about it for the major things.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Echo or Daredevil, but I mean, what is there to really say except it's going to be Daredevil? Daredevil's back, and Echo is a thing.
Yeah,
I like that. I still like that they cast. That they actually cast a deaf actress. I like that. All that stuff. I'm interested into seeing what.
So I would just say I hope that they bring back Jessica Jones or Luke Cage in either one of those shows, because I heard they were going to bring them back, but they weren't going to have their own shows, but they were going to show up in other shows. So I think those two shows would make sense.
Yeah, I do know that Echo is kind of a prequel type kind of storyline, that they're doing a lot of origins and things, so we'll probably get some flashes back and forth in time. There is shots of Kingpin in there, Vincent D'Onofrio in, but he's got eye patch, so basically implying that he survived the being shot in the face by Echo at the end of Hawkeye. There is a
who
whole
actually thought they were dead.
Yeah. I mean, there is a whole storyline that deals with kind of that, I think, with Kingpin in the comics as well. I don't know how much they're going to dive into that or how that will necessarily link up with Born Again. But yeah, look, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio back. They're going to do more Daredevil, and it's like 16 episodes, I think. Did I put that down? It's
18, I think.
18 episodes.
Wow. That's a lot.
So, I mean, this is a chunky storyline that they're going on. And again, Daredevil from Netflix is already on Disney Plus. There is a set tone. I'm not saying that they're going to be bashing heads in with doors on this one. But I would hope that they'd like to keep that. And this would be a perfect thing.
I would 100% guarantee there's going to be a hallway fight, though.
There has to be. There has to be. And this would be a good one to bring some of those side characters back, for cameos and stuff like that, without delving too much into Defenders.
Cool, man. So yeah, we've pretty much covered everything, like you said. I really like what we did here. I'm proud of it. And so in case anybody, if nobody has anything else.
I actually do have one last little bit, and that is, again, tying into my joy at the grand disappointment from a lot of the rumor mills. No Fantastic Four cast announcement at D23, but the director is named, and that's Matt Shakman, who did WandaVision and a bunch of other stuff. So that's exciting. And I think Feige had the best reason with the questions about cast announcement is, we just hired the director. We think he should have some input on who the cast should be. So I think that pretty much tells you, like, look, they haven't cast anyone yet. They may be talking with people. They may have some ideas. But look, there's a lot of stuff coming, man. We can wait on the Fantastic Four. You don't eat all of your meal now. Savor it. Take it in little bites. Be patient. Enjoy what we have now. Because more stuff will be coming.
I think a lot of people are anxious, and I count myself among that, anxious for a good Fantastic Four movie. For me personally, Fantastic Four was among one of my favorite comics when I was younger. And they, haven't come close, not even close to doing them any justice on the screen.
True.
And so there's a lot of hope that in the hands of Kevin Feige and the MCU that they will finally be done justice. So I think a lot of people are just like, come on, let's get on with this kind of thing. But we can wait. You're right. We can have patience. We can wait. It's going to come. And hopefully it will be worth all of this wait. And we will finally get some justice done on screen to the Fantastic Four.
I think we can be hopeful. I mean, I've got two hopes, and I think one of it, I'm going to agree with you right there, Desiree, can be true, is that John Krasinski will not be Reed Richards. I think he got his one shot in Multiverse of Madness. And I'm fine with that. I really don't like him as a choice for Reed Richards. I think there's a lot of other better choices.
I really wanted him to be Reed Richards. I'm still rooting for that.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll wait to see what happens. The one person that I would love to be cast, and I think he's probably just a little too old, but it shouldn't matter, is I think Wes Chatham would be the perfect Ben Grimm.
Yes!
Get Amos from The Expanse as Ben Grimm. Would be awesome. That's my fan cast. I just keep pushing out there into the ether.
Yeah, that would be a good casting.
That is good casting.
Yeah,
because he's physically great, and he's got a lot of emotion that he can play with. He's got a lot of depth he can work in there that I don't think he gets all the opportunity to do. So
he'd basically be like a version of Amos, I think. As
sure,
which I would be here for. I would love that.
That's it. I would. That's why I would love that. But depending on where they go, they're probably going to aim for a younger group of 4 so they can spend more time and years in with it. But I think that would be an awesome.
He's not that old, is he? I mean,
he's 42.
Oh, okay. All right.
So if they're trying to do a more 30s, late 20s, 30s kind of thing, if you're going to do that, he went to college with Reed Richards, they'd have to be sort of age thing. I mean, again, it depends on what they play with, but it's also MCU, and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. As long as they're not in high school like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No.
That one with the what's her face? Like her hair suddenly turned into a wig halfway through.
And 4-stick. We don't need to mention that. It's a combination.
Okay,
of
next we're going to start talking about. Next, we're going to end up talking about Inhumans again or something.
Okay, moving on. Also, they did show some stuff from the Marvels, which we didn't get to see.
Right.
Fine. I'm going to be fine when they come together. I don't have any other thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I'm not looking forward to it. I didn't finish Miss Marvel. It was charming as hell. I think that they cast it really well. I like the people who played her family. I'm excited to see her on the big screen and working with the other two. I liked the actress who played Monica Rambeau in WandaVision. I thought she was a really great choice. She was really good on Mad Men. And I've always liked, I don't care who doesn't like Brie Larson. I like Brie Larson. I've always liked Brie Larson from like United States of Terra and other things that she's done in her career. Scott Pilgrim. I like her as an actress.
Room is one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, she definitely was great in that. She deserved the Oscar, and you know, it just saddens me that they basically took away her sequel and put it together because they wanted it to, I don't know. But I like her as Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel is the version I've seen, I've read in the comics, that is Captain Marvel. And if you don't like that, well, then you never liked Captain Marvel to begin with, in my opinion. Sorry. I don't know what version you're looking at in the comic books, but she's always been a tomboy. She's always been able to hang with the guys. She's been hanging with Cap and Wolverine and taking back Bruce with the guys the whole time, and she's got that attitude that people don't like. And the thing is those people probably don't even read Captain Marvel comics. They just don't like Brie Larson. So F off, leave the girl alone. Don't go see the movie if you don't like it.
Now I'm really excited for the Marvels. Like I'm really looking forward for that one.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be really cute. I think they got a good cast. I'm excited to see them all together.
Yeah, so I am too.
That just about does it then. And I want to thank everybody, unless everybody has anything else.
No, I'm ready to be done. Actually, I gotta get out of here.
I had my Reed Richards throw out, but I can't find the actor's name, so I'm good. But
I want to thank everybody in the chat. I want to thank anybody that was, you didn't have to, you can pop in and out. Doesn't matter. Anybody who watches this later on, great. I want to thank Alyssa, Mark, and Darrin for being here. This is great that we had a full freaking panel. We did it. We covered a lot of topics, to be honest with you. We didn't go off the rails. This might have gone 2 hours and 12 minutes, but I went late on purpose because I don't got to work in the morning, and I wanted to make sure that the West Coast people could spend more time here. And I don't know, Mark, you're on East Coast, right?
Yeah, it's 1:30 in the morning for me. So
I'm sorry, Mark. you got the Don Willie position. You got the Don Willie position today, where you had to be on the East Coast. So I apologize for that. But this was great. I want to thank you guys again for being here. Thanks for all the contributing to this conversation. Thanks for letting me rant and rave and show off my comic books. Thanks everybody in the chat: Desiree, Bill, Devra, Mizaru. If I said that right, I apologize. And yeah, so anyway, that's it. I will see you
Thanks.
all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later on the next video. And make sure to subscribe to all their channels if you made it this far.